No room for margin. My fears are starving. In your spirit guiding me. And pray there's grace for the day, so I can.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Say if you a bad, your hands up high, hands up high, hands up high. Tell them dim the lights down right now. Put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark room, perfume. Go, go.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know you taste this a little bit. High maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, I write poems.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tebe or Tebe, however you'd like to pronounce it, girl. I make lifestyle content, all the things, fitness, work-life balance, and some deep chats here and there as well. So if that's your vibe, please do hit the subscribe button, like this video, share with your friends so we can grow the community. Today I am getting ready for the gym, and I thought we could catch up, girl. I thought we could have a chat actually as I get ready, because I'm really, first of all, it's Q4. So I really have it in my mind that we need to finish strong for Q4. So I was kind of like reflecting over my fitness journey, because I'm getting ready to lock in once again for the rest of the year. But I was kind of reflecting on where I've come from. So I figured as we're getting ready, you know, we can talk about my fitness journey and how I got into this gym lifestyle, but particularly in what it's done for me just mentally over and above the physical aspects, because I really think we tend to focus on our fitness goals for aesthetic reasons, whereas it's way more than that. It's really about the health of your body, the health of your mind as well. And I do want to point out as well just some toxic things that I've come to unlearn in my maturity in the gym. So let's get into it. I've already gotten dressed and you've seen that. For outfit, I am wearing a neutral set. These leggings are from Shein. I can try and link them down below. I hope they're still there. The top was from Cotton On, but it's the Bodied brand, which is their athleisure brand. The jacket. You would have seen me do a reel on this, but this is the viral Lululemon dupe. And I'm saying Lululemon dupe as if I know what Lululemon feels like. But the girlies were saying that's the dupe. I don't know what the original even feels like. I don't care, but I feel like I am a Lulu girl thanks to Shein, because this is the Glow Mode brand, and the Glow Mode brand is premium on Shein. I think that's what they are calling the Lululemon dupe. So I got the BBL jacket that has gone viral, and it is what they say it is. It is what they say it is. I will link it down below. Just a tip on this. You know how athleisure, you kind of want to size down because it stretches? Don't do that with this, because it does kind of run small. So this fits perfectly, and it's a medium, whereas normally I'm a small in athleisure. So just quick tip, girl. But otherwise, I need to get my edges done, and I'm gonna do a little bit of makeup because I do want to go running around after the gym. I want to just go into my makeup routine very quick. Lazy girl makeup, not doing too much. I'm just going to conceal a little bit, and I found this Maybelline concealer. It's the Maybelline Instant Anti-Age Eraser Multi-Use Concealer. This is pretty much my base lately, and I really love how it's in, like, the form it's in, because I just, you know, kind of draw on my face. I let it sit a little bit. I will be concealing just some of the dark areas, just a little bit. And then that's it. And then I will set it with, I can't even show you guys actually, because it's embarrassing, but I will set it with my Fenty Beauty powder foundation, and then we'll just go in with a little bit of blush. I like using the MAC powder blush. It is in Raisin Matte, so it gives me a kind of bronzed contour type of vibe. Like that's how I use this. So anyways, guys, I think, in terms of my fitness journey, I definitely, growing up, was kind of like, I've always been this size. So I haven't been substantially bigger ever before in my life. I have been substantially smaller though, and I'll get into that. But in my childhood, I was reasonably active, reasonably athletic. I did play sports in like primary, high school, you know what I mean? I never went like full-on athletic or full-on pro. I did netball, but I didn't like it because of the politics. I did soccer for sure, and I did hockey, which I feel like maybe if I had one regret, I could have gone pro with hockey, but I just never really, like, I let go of it when I left high school. So high school was pretty stock standard. I think in varsity, how I was moving my body was not at all. Not at all. Like I said, I really wish I picked up hockey in varsity, because I feel like that's when it would have had the structure, and I could have actually, like, you know, done it to a more pro level where it would have changed my fitness substantially. And I think it would have been just a place for me to also have social ties, because one of the things in varsity that I really struggled with is isolation, anxiety, and depression. So I felt like I was isolated. I felt like I couldn't make friends. So maybe had I joined hockey as a sport, it could have been, because it's a team sport, it could have been a place where I could have fostered some friendships, some relationships, and it could have helped me over my varsity journey. But it didn't turn out that way. So I did no physical activity at all, but I didn't blow up or anything. I did get a little bit of weird, like, you know, your varsity spread because you're eating all of this canteen food, but it wasn't really too bad. One thing I do remember though, from a physical perspective in varsity, was I don't know how I threw my back out, but I threw my back out one morning getting out of bed, and I couldn't get out of bed the entire day. And I just remember that being really traumatic for me because of the isolation, because of my depression. I felt there was no one I could call. I literally laid in my bed crying all day until the pain subsided. And the next day I went to physio, the campus physio, and that's when I got introduced to yoga. Now, you'll get to hear more about this in my faith journey, but that's not something that I practice anymore. But essentially, to connect the dots, that's how I got into yoga, because it was a way for me to stretch my back and be supple. And that's the only physical activity that I did in varsity. I basically became a yoga and Pilates girl. And it was cute. I do think it did have some value just in terms of also helping me with my anxiety. You know, the whole meditation thing. That was obviously a gateway to new age practices in witchcraft. So like I'm saying, maybe I'll get into it more in my faith journey. If you're interested in that, comment down below and I can definitely shoot that video to you guys. But that was the extent of my physical activity growing up, guys. I wasn't really a star athlete or anything. I just did yoga and I got really proficient in it. I think when I moved back home, and that was for mental health reasons. I was supposed to stay on an SA, but how I landed up in Eswatini was I just needed to focus on my mental health. So I was basically doing yoga. I was a yoga girl, period, right? So when I come back home, this is about like 2014, 15 when I came back home. And I'm a yoga girl, but like fast forward to COVID, to 2020, because their anxiety, and this is the thing about like new age practices, it's like you think you're zen but you're not. So the anxiety actually just grew and grew. And the job that I have, like I'm in corporate, so the job that I have is super stressful. And yeah, I think yoga did help me balance with my stress, but I think come 2020 my life was just falling apart. and I can tell you guys more about that in another video, but my life was just falling apart. So that's how I landed up. So when COVID happened, you know, I was doing more yoga, I was going on walks and everything, but I feel like no guys, backtrack, 2019. So 2019 is the year I got into the gym for the first time, and it was because I had a trip. So I had an aesthetic goal, and I basically wanted abs, and that's exactly what I told my trainer. I said, I want a fat and some abs. And I worked with him. He was an amazing trainer, by the way, and we're still like we did remain friends even after I started doing my own thing, because he taught me a lot about, you know, like the principles and everything. So I did soak up a lot of knowledge, but I had a trip, and that's how I landed in the gym for the first time. I had an aesthetic goal, and I can't say I met it because I got the abs that I wanted, but the activity on the trip, the weather wasn't that great. So I didn't end up getting a bikini on at all. So that was a waste. But I really enjoyed working with this trainer, and I really enjoyed what it was doing for my mental health, because I did realize that, yeah, yoga is dope, but really blowing off some steam with like a good weight session, with like a good cardio session, sweating that out, like I really loved how it was just a place for me to really decompress and really blow off some steam because of the job that I have as well. So that's how even after the trip I kind of stuck with the dude. Like I still like kept working with him, and that's what I would say is when you get started, definitely like have someone there, you know what I mean, so that you know what you're doing. But I kept working with him, and the thing about it, because I actually really started loving it, I was also kind of, you know, going into the rabbit hole on YouTube in terms of, you know, the likes of Natasha Ocean. Like she will teach you how this thing works. Like the likes of Chrissy Chella, like the OG fitness girlies I used to watch around that time, and they really used to break down how to, you know, how this thing works. So I learned a lot from YouTube as well as my trainer, such that I got to a point where I kind of was becoming self-sufficient. But I kept working with him, and come 2020 now, yeah, my life is expeditiously going down the drain. Okay, it is going down the drain, and it becomes a matter of life and death, me being in the gym, because of that element of, you know, blowing off that steam. I lived in the gym, and it really, really, really helped me mentally. But what was going on around that time is that I was in the gym and I was lifting, yes, but because of the level of my anxiety, I dropped so much weight, you guys. I dropped all the way down to a size 6. And what's crazy about that is people were like, oh, like you're really doing well in the gym. Like people were starting to be envious of me, and they really wanted my lifestyle. And because I was dropping weight, everybody was kind of hyping that up, you know what I mean? And like wanting that, and like asking, how do I get there? Whereas the weight dropping off was actually because of my anxiety, was actually just because of the stress that my body was under, and how hard I was working at the gym with basically like no rest. Or I wasn't balanced, guys. I wasn't balanced. I was hiding in the gym, you know what I mean? And that plus just the anxiety, I dropped so much weight, and everybody loved it, when that was literally the most unhealthiest I've ever been. Like spiritually, emotionally, I was in a very emotionally abusive relationship as well. Spiritually, God was calling me, and I was in abject disobedience. Physically, because of the stress of COVID against the stress of my job, because my job was very, like, it was toxic, it was unempathetic, and it's like, we're in a pandemic right now, and you want financials out of me turnaround of 24 hours, you know what I mean? And just all those factors together had me drop a lot of weight. But it just goes to show the misalignment in terms of how culture sees, or like how we view our, you know, bodies per the prism of culture, where we really do be hyping up, you know, the, how do I say, like there's a beauty standard that we really do be hyping up, whereas that beauty standard might not be indicative of health. Like that beauty standard does not correlate to the health of the person and the wellness of the person. So that was 2020, where I was at my smallest, but I was my unhealthiest. So coming out of the pandemic, I did make some changes in my life. I think God mandated some changes in my life, whereas I started a healing journey. And in that healing journey, I was healing in my body as well, because I was eating more because I could eat more. And I think I still had it in my mind that I do have aesthetic goals. So I went on a bulk. Now, my bulk season was very interesting. First of all, it's harder than it looks, because eating that much food is actually a lot of hard work. So I was pushing, and I was pushing at the gym, and I was growing my glutes. I was growing my body. The funny thing about a bulk, though, that no one tells you, and I want to not use inflammatory language because I'm never going to use that, but you gain, I'll say it like this, you do gain fat all around. You can build muscle or convert that fat into muscle in the areas that you prioritize, but you do gain fat all around. So I didn't know that, and I went up from the size 6, where I was my smallest, to the biggest that I've been, which is a size 10. But I then had another trip coming up, and I think this is now 2021. So I was bulking for like 15 months or so, for over a year for sure. And at the end of like 2021, I have another trip coming up, and I'm trying to be snatched. Okay, I'm trying to be snatched, and I realized this, and I then swung from the bulk extreme into a shred. Now, a shred is basically eating at a caloric deficit. So where a bulk is a caloric surplus, you're eating more than your body needs, so that the excess it can convert into muscle, but unfortunately you gain fat as well. I then swung to a caloric deficit, which is a shred, and I learned some lessons with the shred as well. But speaking of a shred, I'm getting hungry, so, and I think my makeup is done. I'm just gonna set spray, put some mascara, but let's grab a snack and continue this conversation.
In these songs dedicated to you, when you're in the mood for empathy, blood in my pen. Better yet, with your friends and them.
I absolutely love the setting spray, by the way. It's the Wet n Wild 530, a detox setting spray. It's even got niacinamide, eucalyptus, tea tree, and chamomile in it. So I love this. It's giving skincare in a setting spray. And y'all know I rock and ride with the BioPlus Edge Control.
I can tell, but I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real. P.S. You can get it, you can get it, you can get it, you can get it. And I know, just wrong. Oh, what a justice, put it in the song, alright.
just made my little gym snack. I have yogurt with some granola and banana, and I was trying to make an iced vanilla latte. We didn't have any ice, so I have that, and I made my own vanilla cold foam. You all saw how I did that. So I just thought maybe let me go for coffee instead of a pre-workout. So as we eat this and let it settle in, I will tell you guys about my shred. Now again, I'm moving from one extreme to the other. Now shred mode is a caloric deficit, and you ramp up the cardio, and essentially it's meant to be a fat loss phase. So the thing about a shred, that when I was doing it, so at that point I was working out like 5 to 6 times a week, and I was pushing hard, sometimes 2 a day workouts, because it's pretty much, you know what shred mode sounds like, and y'all not gonna want to hear this, but shred mode sounds like 75 hard. The most toxic thing I have ever heard of. I'm sorry. You know what? The aspects of 75 hard that have to do with, you know, reading 10 books of 10 pages of a self-development book, I would just substitute that with the Bible if you're a woman of God. But it's where you are working out for 75 days straight, twice a day, with no rest. I don't get it. Not unless you guys are cheating and resting in between. But the way 75 hard sounds like is unrealistic, unsustainable, and it's the toxic gym culture that I had to work really hard to unlearn, because rest is productive and you need rest. Because here's what happened. Let me tell you what happened. I was in shred mode for 3 months, which is about, you know, give or take 75 days, you know, like 3 months is 90 days actually. So I would, work out 5 to 6 days a week, like twice a day, and it's a lot of cardio, so a lot of high interval intensity training, which is HIIT. You ramp that up so that your body burns more calories, and you're on a caloric deficit, so you shrink once again. Now the thing about that no one told me is stress on your body. Like, I had stress factors in my life already. Like I was saying, I'm trying to rebuild, so I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to rebuild. Oh, by the way, because like bulking for me was my healing journey. I was gaining weight again, and people were like, oh, you seem to be getting big now. And it's like, I'm actually getting healthier the bigger that I'm getting, because I'm healing, I'm able to eat more, I'm resting more. So I was building, I had muscle. The problem with it is I was healing through my food, yes, but the problem was just, you know, the fat gain idea. So with shred, I'm in a fat loss phase, but no one talks about how working out that much is also a stress factor in your body. So again, I have stress factors in my life, in my job, in my personal life that I am trying to rebuild. And then couple that with so much working out and no rest. Long story short, I burnt out. I burnt out, girl. I couldn't process anything. I couldn't think. I couldn't even sleep, because that's the thing about it. Like, that's why you don't have rest. The working out so much is a stress factor in and of itself. And you know, when you work out, it's like you get like ramped up with like adrenaline, cortisol. You don't sleep. So I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, and I'm telling myself I'm losing fat, I'm losing fat. And here's another thing they don't tell you. You will lose fat, yes, but you'll also lose your muscle definition. Like, you will lose all the work that you put in your bulk. So that was so tricky. That was so tricky, girl. So I think around 2022, first quarter of 2022 is when I did the shred. I burnt out. I felt sick. I felt really sick. I felt so sick that I had to take 7 rounds of antibiotics because my stomach lining was chowed. Oh my gosh, I had to go on such a long journey to heal my gut after that, because if you think about it, I'm having coffee now. It's 2024. It took me from 2022 to 2020. I only started having coffee again this year. I was only able to have coffee again this year because my gut lining was ravaged from shred. Because then I felt sick and I got some infections, and then I got ulcers on top of that. And my source of ulcer was the bacterial infection. It's called H. pylori. So I was on antibiotic after antibiotic, and you know antibiotics will kill not only the bad but the good bacteria as well. So that's why my stomach lining was just done, and I couldn't eat a lot of stuff for a long time after that. You know, things like coffee up until today that I'm only able to enjoy now because it would just inflame me so much. So shred mode was not worth it. 75 hard is a hoax. You will drop all the weight, yes, but you'll just become skinny again. You'll not achieve the aesthetic goal that you need. Now, from bulk to shred, I then transitioned. I learned the hard way that I need more balance in my life. That's why I'm so about the balance thing, because I've learned from extreme to extreme it doesn't work. You do need to kind of meet yourself in the middle. So what I then embarked on is a true healing journey in my body. And again, even my life was kind of like, you know, starting up again. I think God had a handle on me at that point. So he was starting to disciple me, really do a work in me to the point where I would realize that, oh, okay, I'm safe now. But over that time, I went on basically a journey of balance, which is what you'll hear them call a body recomposition phase. Now, body recomposition is basically muscle gain plus fat loss that will ideally kind of get you to the aesthetic goal that you need. So if you want a fat bum with like shredded waist, a recomposition is actually the best way to get that, because you're doing two things at once. So you need to have a happy medium between cardio as well as lifting weights. And then you also have to focus on clean eating with whole foods, because the thing about a bulk is that in a caloric surplus you tend to eat everything. So it turns to be what they call a dirty bulk, where you're just eating junk because you're just trying to get the most calories in. And that's how, and if you're lifting in the gym, yes, you'll get bigger in muscle, but you will have more fat because of the nature of the foods you're eating. So a recomp is actually saying you'll be in a caloric surplus, yes, but it has to be clean so that you can manage the fat gain aspect, because what you're actually trying to do is lose fat. Also, in terms of lifting or in terms of the physical activity, so that's what the diet looks like. The physical activity is, yes, you're lifting weights, hypertrophy, progressive overload in order to build muscle in those priority areas. But the cardio, though, changes from being like HIIT to more of a low impact cardio. And what I've seen is that low impact cardio is much healthier, especially for me and balancing my hormones. I don't do HIIT anymore, basically. Like, I will do HIIT in my maybe follicular phase right before ovulation, because that's when I am the most fired up, but I don't usually do HIIT. So with my body recomp, I was also structuring my workout routines myself. Again, from working with a trainer for so long, like close to 2 years, from all the research that I did and all the learning that I did and applying that learning, I actually figured out how to craft a body recomposition. And it took me from where I was here to here, which was that hourglass effect. I was so happy. I was so proud of myself, girl. I really did that. I'm not gonna lie, I really did that. And I've been to hell and back with this fitness thing. Right now, where I'm at, I think from there, it was, yeah, that was because my recomp was like the rest of 2022, I couldn't do anything because I was sick. So my recomp was just the tail end, and I recomped so quickly. I think Q4 2023 is when I realized, oh, wow, like I've actually transformed my body. So that was me the end of 2022. Now 2023, which is last year, just had a lot going on in my life. God has done an insane work inside, so I was very much prioritizing my inner space rather than, you know, gym. So you could say I was kind of like inconsistent, and I was traveling a lot, and my work also just ramped up. So I've been kind of in and out, but I'd definitely say that right now I'm in my lifestyle era. So I'm more about just moving my body. I have relinquished all aesthetic goals. That's why I guess I've been in and out the gym, because now I prioritize things like my prayer walks, things like, you know, walking on the treadmill with a book rather than lifting, at-home workouts, mat Pilates, you know. So I'm more in like my lifestyle era, where this is just a way of life. And for me, I think about it from a perspective of health, wellness, and moving your body to manage stress, as well as eating clean. That's what I focus on now. So yeah, girl, I think to summarize with the lessons that I've learned, be careful of aesthetic goals, because how you look like aesthetically might not be a measure of your actual health and wellness internally. And over and above everything, that's what matters the most. Fitness and moving your body is to serve your overall wellness. You should never prioritize that at the expense of your own physical and mental health and wellness, guys. So that's one thing that I learned when I was chasing aesthetic goals. I was swinging from one extreme to the next, and it was really harming my body, just in terms of the amount of shock and the amount of stress that I was putting my body under. So I've definitely unlearned that. You can have an aesthetic goal, but how you achieve that aesthetic goal should always be balanced. It should always be a balanced approach. So prioritize clean eating and whole foods, you know, that kind of diet. Prioritize that, and prioritize rest. Prioritize rest, guys, because especially when it comes to building muscle, your muscle doesn't actually grow when you're stressing it in the gym. It actually grows when you're resting from all of that effort. So that's the second piece that I learned in the gym, that yes, you can have aesthetic goals, but balance is key. And the third thing is block out society. Block out society, girl, because as you've seen with my story, I was getting the most praise at my most unhealthiest. So just block out, you know, there's a lot of policing and there's a lot of judgment on women's bodies, on how we look and all of that. And as best as you can, try and work on, you know, your inner space, your self-worth and your self-esteem, so that you have self-love. And remember the love of God. Remember that God loves you more than anything. So anything anybody else might say, let that roll off your back, because it doesn't mean anything, and they don't know what you're going through. So if someone says, oh, you've gained weight, they don't know what you're going through. If someone says, oh, you're skinny now, they don't know what you're going through. And there is very much a misalignment towards the reactions that you get versus what's really going on. So it's just focus on yourself, focus on your internal space, focus on getting healthy, girl, and focus on the love of God, because from that place, I was able to approach this fitness journey much more sustainably, with good sense, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been. So currently I am still a size 10, but it looks different from what it looked like when I was in a bulk. I definitely do have, like, you know, some sort of a curve. I'm a bit, you know, I could have more definition, but that's just only because I'm in and out of the gym nowadays. Because it's a lifestyle for me, it's more about moving my body. And I think I will end the video there, you guys. We're about to finish our snack and head to the gym. I'll play out a couple clips from that. But I really hope, you know, this reaches somebody. I really hope I was able to give you guys insight to like the insight behind the fitness content that you see on my channel, and just the journey. And it has been a journey. I'm like 5 years senior in the gym now, and you can tell by the ups and downs that I've had that, you know, I'm the happiest I've ever been, and that is from a place of balance and just self-love more than chasing aesthetic goals. So that is what I will say in closing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for your time. Comment down below if there's anything else you'd like me to share insights on, and what you thought of this video and where you're at in your fitness journey. Maybe we can bounce ideas. Maybe if you guys need inspiration, more fitness inspiration in a certain area, let me know so that I can deliver that to you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, girl. I'll see y'all in the next video.
I'm in London, I like to go and shop at the mall, shop at the Prada, shop at the store, shop in a drop and stop at Dior. Louis Vuitton, cover my toes, throw on my trousers, look at my bricks, these are my tennis, look at my shoes.